Okay, picture this. Bein El Sarayat, Doki, Cairo. It's 2008. Imagine the heat, that heavy mid-afternoon stillness around 3:30 p.m. Just seems like any other day.
Exactly. Inside this pretty normal-looking house, Mohammed Abdullah, a local businessman people knew, respected even, is visiting his fiance's family.
Seems totally routine.
Right up until it wasn't. One of the sisters, Nehad's sister, she just made tea, was heading upstairs to the third floor, and then this blood-curdling scream just rips through the quiet.
Oh, man. So she runs back down.
Yeah, races down. And what she finds is just absolute horror. Mohammed, he's got knives, and he's attacking her mother, stabbing her again and again.
How bad was it?
He stabbed her 7 times, and then he completely severed her head.
God. Unbelievable. What did the sister do?
She managed to scramble, locked herself behind a door, started screaming out the window, trying to get help from neighbors.
But it wasn't over.
Not even close. The fourth sister, who'd been cleaning upstairs, comes stumbling out of the house into the street. She's covered in blood herself, wounds on her abdomen, her neck.
And she tells people what happened.
Yeah, she's shouting it out to the crowd that's starting to gather. Mohammed killed her mother. He killed her.
And Mohammed follows her out.
He bursts out onto the street. He's got 2 knives now, glinting, chases her down right there in front of everyone, and just keeps stabbing her until she collapses.
This is happening in broad daylight on the street.
Total chaos. And right at that moment, his fiancée, Nehad, she arrives. She walks straight into this unfolding massacre, sees her sister on the ground.
And Mohammed turns on her.
Instantly. Turns the knives on Nehad. 7 quick, fatal stab wounds. It was brutal. Over in minutes.
3 people dead. By a man known as this, successful, self-made guy.
A pillar of the community. Suddenly a public executioner. It's shocking.
Okay, we have to unpack this. How does someone like that commit such a horrific crime? He later claimed he wasn't even in control, that something else was guiding him.
Right. And to understand that claim, you really have to go back. Back before the violence. Back to how he even got connected with this family in the first place.
Let's do that. So who is Mohammed Abdullah before all this?
Go back to 1996. He's 22. He's ambitious, finished his technical studies, saved up, and opened his own business. A stationery and photocopying shop.
And where was this shop?
Smart location, right next to Cairo University in Bein El Sarayat. Perfect spot.
So business was good.
Oh yeah, it took off immediately. Students, faculty, constant demand. Within just 2 years, he's buying more machines, expanding. He becomes the sole provider for his parents, his 4 siblings.
Built a reputation for himself.
Yeah.
Reliable, hardworking.
Absolutely. Known everywhere as this responsible, successful young man, he'd really made something of himself.
Okay, so he's established, successful, then what?
Then comes 2002. That's the year he meets Nehad. She's from the area, beautiful, and she starts coming into his shop pretty often.
Just happening to stop by.
Well, the feeling was maybe not entirely accidental. There was definitely an interaction, mutual, right from the start.
So they start seeing each other.
They do. It develops into a relationship, quite public, but her family had a condition. No official engagement until she finished her schooling.
Okay, so a waiting period. How long?
It ended up being a 3-year courtship. And during this time, things started to get weird. People close to Mohammed kept warning him, but vaguely.
Warning him. About what?
Just saying things like, you should ask about Nehad's family properly. That kind of veiled comment.
Implying something wasn't right, but not saying what.
Exactly. In a tight community like that, vague warnings often mean there's something serious everyone knows but is hesitant to spell out. He knew her father was, comfortable, owned properties, ran a small library.
But not where the money really came from.
Nope. Totally unknown. And these constant sort of nudges and warnings suggested there was some darker family history lurking there.
And how was Mohammed during this 3-year period? You mentioned things got weird.
His personality started to shift. The successful, decisive guy became, almost subservient, especially around Nehad and her mother.
Subservient how?
Like he'd just automatically do whatever they asked, no questions. He started feeling like he wasn't making his own decisions anymore, losing that sense of control.
That's a significant change from the driven businessman.
Huge change. And then things escalated publicly. Suddenly, posters of Nehad appeared all over the area.
Posters? Like election posters?
No. Pictures of her, but they were defaced.
Yeah.
Covered in these really harsh, handwritten insults and slurs. It was a public shaming.
Wow, who would do that?
Well, here's the twist. Despite their public long-term relationship, Nehad's family immediately pointed the finger at Muhammad.
They accused him.
Yes, filed a formal police complaint, accused him of making and spreading the posters. They actually tried to have him jailed for it.
Wait, they wanted to send their daughter's long-term boyfriend, potential fiancé, to jail. Based on what?
It makes no sense, right? Pure betrayal. Thankfully, he managed to prove it wasn't him. The handwriting was completely different.
So the charges were dropped.
Yeah, charges dropped. And understandably, the relationship completely ended right then and there.
I bet his friends were relieved.
Oh, totally. Everyone around him was like, congratulations, you're finally free from that. They saw it as dodging a bullet.
But it wasn't over for Muhammad, was it?
Not even slightly. The next 4 months, he just fell apart. Became super withdrawn, couldn't focus on his business at all. It started to suffer.
Just heartbreak or something else?
It seemed like more. He started seeing things, visions of Nehad, having vivid dreams where he thought she was standing right in front of him.
That sounds like intense obsession or...
Or, as his friends started suggesting openly, maybe something darker, they started saying she'd put a spell on him. Black magic.
Black magic. Okay, so that belief starts entering the picture.
And this is where you really have to understand the cultural context.
Yeah.
The specific term used was Sur al-Rabat, binding magic.
Binding magic. What does that imply?
The belief is that it gives the caster complete emotional and psychological control over the victim. It essentially binds the person to them, making it impossible to leave physically or emotionally, even if they want to.
So his friends thought he wasn't just heartbroken, he was magically bound to her.
That was the growing belief. And it seemed to explain his inability to move on, the visions.
And then, after 4 months of this torment...
Nehad physically reappeared, just showed up again.
And Muhammad's reaction.
Instant joy, ecstasy almost. He felt like his life was back, like everything was right again. The binding, whether real or psychological, just snapped back into place.
Okay, but what about the whole police report thing? Them trying to jail him.
This is the truly baffling part, the sign of how far gone he was. He went to her family and apologized.
He apologized? For what?
Get this. He apologized for his reaction to them falsely accusing him and trying to get him arrested.
Hold on. He apologized for being upset that they tried to ruin his life. That's not rational.
Not at all. It's complete submission. It suggests his own logical processes, his self-preservation instincts were just overridden. It feeds right into that idea of being controlled, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. That sounds less like forgiveness and more like, well, like the binding magic they talked about.
Precisely. And the family. They accepted his apology immediately, didn't bat an eye, and in the same meeting, he proposed marriage.
And they agreed, just like that.
On the spot. So this broken, toxic situation suddenly becomes a formal engagement, set to last a year. It basically cemented whatever influence the mother and Nehad had over him.
How did that engagement year go for him?
It was torture, by his account. He felt completely exploited. He was absolutely convinced by this point that he was under the spell, the Sur al-Rabat. He felt totally out of control.
Did anything happen to reinforce that belief?
Yes. He started hearing things from neighbors. Whispers that Nehad's mother wasn't just some ordinary woman. She secretly practiced magic for people. Rituals, spells, that sort of thing.
Okay, so community rumor starts to back up his fear.
Right. And his own experiences seemed to confirm it. He noticed that whenever he visited their house, especially if there was some kind of conflict or disagreement brewing between him and Nehad, the mother would serve him tea or maybe some food, and he said it always tasted strange, a weird flavor he couldn't place.
And after eating or drinking it?
Immediately after, any feeling of conflict he had would just evaporate, vanish. And he'd find himself apologizing, often for things that weren't his fault. It happened repeatedly.
Wow, that's specific and incredibly creepy.
It cemented his certainty. He believed he was being drugged or magically influenced through food and drink to keep him compliant.
And his business during this year?
Completely neglected. The successful entrepreneur was gone. He couldn't focus on anything but Nehad. He apparently tried to break off the engagement multiple times during that year.
But couldn't go through with it?
Nope. Something always stopped him. He felt mysteriously unable to actually make the break. The binding in his mind was absolute. His life was just dissolving.
So he's desperate, convinced he's cursed. What does he do?
He finally decides he needs answers. He thinks back to those vague warnings from years ago. He seeks out someone he trusts, someone who might know the deeper family history.
To find out what people were trying to warn him about.
Exactly. He asks about Nehad's maternal grandmother, her mother's mother. She had lived in that same area about 10 years earlier.
And Was there a story there?
Oh, there was a story, a dark one. This grandmother was apparently infamous in the area, known widely for practicing magic, especially, black magic.
So the mother potentially learned from her own mother.
That was the implication. And the grandmother, she was apparently never seen alone. Always had a large black cat with her.
A classic image, the witch and her familiar.
Right. But witnesses claimed it was more than that. They said they'd seen the grandmother talking to the cat, like having conversations. Some even swore they'd heard the cat speak back.
Okay, that's definitely venturing into local legend territory, but it paints a picture.
A very dark picture, especially considering how the grandmother's story ended.
How did it end?
It was brutal. She and her black cat were both found slaughtered, murdered.
Murdered. By who? Why?
The killer confessed. He said it killed them both specifically to break the black magic that she had used against him. He claimed she had completely controlled and ruined his life with her magic.
Wait, so 10 years earlier, someone else felt cursed by this family's magic and resorted to murder to break free.
Exactly. It's like a chilling blueprint for what Muhammad was now contemplating.
Did Muhammad believe this story?
He checked it out, verified it with multiple people in the area. It was a known event. Suddenly, those vague warnings from years ago made perfect, terrifying sense. It was about this history, this inherited practice.
And he connected to the present day.
Yeah, he noted how Nehad's father seemed completely passive, almost invisible in the family dynamic. It was always the mother and Nehad calling the shots, making decisions, just like perhaps the grandmother before them.
So in his mind, the pattern was clear. He was trapped.
Absolutely certain. He saw himself as a victim of an inherited curse, his free will totally subjugated, and he looked at the grandmother's murder.
And saw it as the only solution.
He concluded it was the only way. The only way to break the spiritual binding, to get his life and his will back, was through the same violent act that ended the grandmother's alleged control 10 years prior.
He decided he had to kill them.
The entire family, if possible. He bought a brand new set of knives, not kitchen knives, but weapons. And he spent 4 days meticulously planning it.
Planning. So it wasn't just a snap decision.
No, according to the investigation, it was premeditated. He worked out the timing, how to eliminate them simultaneously. In his mind, this wasn't murder. It was spiritual warfare. Self-defense against a supernatural attack.
Which brings us back to that horrific afternoon, the plan put into action.
Yes, and after the horror on the street, after Nehad fell, the violence just stopped. He didn't run. He just sat down calmly, right there on the ground, amidst the bodies.
Waiting for the police.
Just waiting. When they arrived and arrested him, his only statement was simple. He said he was finally rid of them all.
And the aftermath, the investigation.
The forensics laid bare the sheer brutality. The mother, 7 stab wounds plus the decapitation. The sister who ran outside, 6 stab wounds. Nehad, his fiancée, 7 stab wounds.
Did he show any remorse? Regret?
Absolutely none. 0 remorse. In fact, his only expressed regret during the investigation was that he hadn't managed to kill the father, too. Apparently, the father had left for prayers just moments before Muhammad arrived.
And the other sister, the one who locked herself upstairs.
He regretted not getting her either. He wanted the entire line, the source of the magic as he saw it, gone. He repeatedly asked for the death penalty.
Saw it as freedom, maybe?
Perhaps. The final release from the curse he believed had destroyed him. He was, of course, convicted of premeditated murder and sentenced to death.
Which really brings up this central, difficult issue, doesn't it? For you listening, think about this. Muhammad was utterly convinced he was acting in self-defense. Not against a person, but against a powerful, destructive spiritual force.
He believed his life, his will, everything had been stolen by this Sir al-Rabat. To him, the murders were a necessary act to break free. But the law, of course, can't operate on that belief system.
The law sees the physical act, intentional, planned killing.
Exactly. There's a huge gap between his subjective reality, deeply rooted in cultural beliefs about magic and control, and the objective reality of legal justice. He claimed his will was taken, yet he willed himself to plan and execute murder.
It's a contradiction. Believing he was controlled, yet taking ultimate control through violence. It suggests maybe a lack of faith that any other power, divine or otherwise, could save him. He put his faith in the knives.
It's a profoundly disturbing case. More than just true crime, it's a look into how obsession, paranoia, and this deep-seated belief in unseen external forces can utterly consume someone.
Someone who had built a life on tangible success. on hard work and responsibility.
Yeah, to see that foundation completely eroded, replaced by this conviction that only extreme violence could restore his freedom,
Yeah.
it's a chilling psychological journey. You see the steps, the warnings, the perceived evidence piling up in his mind.
It really makes you think. In a world now saturated with information, beliefs, and competing realities, where do you draw the line? How do we balance understanding the power that a deeply held belief can have over someone,
Like the belief in binding magic, which was utterly real to him.
while also recognizing that letting such a belief dictate irreversible, fatal actions crosses a fundamental line? It's a heavy question to leave you with.